The night the Russian drone hit the Ukrainian hospital, nothing in the air defense maps predicted what would follow. What should have been a routine intercept window, predictable, containable, nearly procedural, collapsed into one of the most chaotic 50 minutes the region had seen in months. Stay with this timeline. Don't blink. Every second from here becomes a chain reaction between machine logic, human instincts, and physics unfolding too fast for comfort. Before the next wave appears on radar, before commanders gamble ammunition they can't replace, and before a single faulty altimeter drags the entire engagement off its rails, you need to witness the precise moment where everything breaks. The Garand 2 comes in low, around 150 ms, its engine buzzing like a dysrhythmic wasp trapped inside a fiberglass wing. The air around it vibrates with that distinct two-stroke growl, a sound every Ukrainian city now recognizes instantly and hates viscerally. At 80 meters altitude, the drone barely clears the tree line before nosing into a shallow terminal dive. The impact into the pediatric wing is fast and final. A hard thump, more felt than heard, followed by a hollow crack as the 30-40 kg warhead detonates, reinforced concrete bursts outward in a dirty gray jet, flaming insulation drifting like ash. A vertical shock column rises 300 meters into the night sky, lit from beneath by fires licking at exposed floors. The shockwave ripples through the district. Windows bow, metal railings hum, car alarms bounce awake in unison, panicked echoes across an empty street grid. Inside the air defense bunker 12 kilometers away, monitors flicker as the facility automatically switches to generator power. A few operators instinctively brace against the tremor, but nobody leaves their screens. The incoming seismic alert packet confirms a localized explosive event. The senior controller frowns at the detonation graph. "That's light," he mutters. "Not a full payload." Lighter usually means intentional. Intentional usually means bait. A cold silence settles. Not fear, anticipation. Then the radar wakes up. 3 faint returns materialize on the 36D6 M1 surveillance screen. The operator leans closer, recognizing the jittery, needle-threading movement of small drones skimming just above clutter. He manually adjusts the Doppler rejection threshold, not protocol, but he's been doing this long enough to trust his eyes over a rulebook. Speed, 160 ms. Altitude, fluctuating 80-120 mAGL. RCS, tiny. Vectors, converging. The system tags them. Low RCS slow movers. A second sweep reveals 5. A third shows 7. A fourth confirms a wave. No one in the bunker says multi-axis attack, but everyone is thinking it. Worse, the drones are coming in staggered. Height bands, an attempt to trick filter algorithms and saturate defenses in layers. The kind of tactic that requires planning, not improvisation. The first drone wasn't the attack. It was the door. Far to the south, the Black Sea churns under moonlight, swells rolling in at a steady rhythm. A Bayan M corvette drifts on a 1.3-meter sea state, its hull groaning softly. Inside the CIC, a young lieutenant watches a string of telemetry signals, representing outbound kamikaze drones. Packet loss creeps up. Ukrainian EW gnaws at the comms link. The lieutenant taps the console rhythmically, not out of nerves, but habit, while watching the guidance stack stabilize. The drone's navigation systems are a messy hybrid. IMU drift, predictable but accumulates meters of error every minute. GPS glonus, accurate when unjammed, jittering under interference. Terrain following profiles, crude but stubborn. Mission logic favors whichever input appears less chaotic. Over a 5-second smoothing window. Tonight, that smooth input is pulling them straight toward the hospital. The lieutenant marks their status as nominal. He doesn't know about the first impact. He doesn't need to. The system doesn't care what's already burning. North of the city, the NASAM's battery commander stands over the console. The incoming flight paths look wrong, angled, uneven, a little too clean to be improvised. He knows the math. AMRAAMs are expensive, limited, and technically overkill against cheap drones. But letting them close to 2-kilometer altitude puts all hope on Gepards and riflemen. He stares at the Sentinel's blurry returns. Ground ghosts flit across the screen. The drones weave in and out of clutter. The radar tries to track them but keeps losing confidence intervals. He taps his finger once on the console edge, then decides. If not now, when? 3 tracks assigned, 3 missiles greenlit. He signs the digital confirmation. A decision with consequences that will echo across the next 5 minutes. At 6,300 meters altitude, a Ukrainian MiG-29 shreds through the cold air at 900 km/h. The pilot watches the city glow beneath. Him, fires blooming, transformers sparking from shockwaves. vehicle engines idling in the streets. His IRST system picks up everything except the drones. They hide in the city's heat signature, blending with exhaust vents, rooftop generators, and the thermal plume rising from the first explosion. Fast jets struggle against slow threats. To engage, he would need to dive aggressively, pull a high-G rollout, and drop into Manpad's territory. He lowers altitude anyway, not for a shot, just to keep pressure on the lanes. Oi! The AIM-120C7 launches with a hard crack, instantly accelerating to Mach 3. Its onboard logic filters through jittery data, ignoring the drone's vibration-induced ghost signatures. At 8 kilometers out, the missile goes active, seeker scanning in a tight cone. The intercept happens at 41 meters altitude, dangerously low for the proximity fuse. The explosion shreds the drone and lights up a dry field below, flames starting a grass fire that will keep volunteers busy at dawn. In the bunker, someone mutters, "Great, save the hospital." Torch the countryside. A few smiles crack, tight, tired. Humor is a pressure valve here. One drone begins climbing, slowly, subtly, just a few meters at first. On the radar console, its altitude creeps from 72 meters to 85, then to 92. To the operator, this looks deliberate. It isn't, it's physics. The drone's barometric altimeter was calibrated at sea level hours, earlier on a Russian corvette. In the Black Sea, inland, a dropping cold front has lowered atmospheric pressure by roughly 10 HPA. The drone's onboard logic thinks it is flying too low, so it nudges upward to correct the non-existent danger. That tiny correction triggers a chain reaction. By rising above the tree line, the drone escapes ground clutter and appears as a clean, trackable return on Ukrainian radar, its RCS no longer, drowning among reflections from buildings, terrain, and vegetation. At the same time, its new altitude places it squarely inside the minimum engagement window of a Buk M1, battery stationed 18 kilometers east. Inside the Buk vehicle, the 9S-35 Fire, dome radar locks the track with a confidence percent it rarely gets on drones. Protocol doesn't care that the target is cheap. It only cares that it's inside geometry. A 9M38 missile erupts from its rail, climbing steeply before tipping into a calculated intercept arc. Designed for fighter jets, not plywood drones, the proximity fuse detonates, early 20 meters off, target overperforming by shredding the drone, and spraying shrapnel across unoccupied apartment balconies. A tactical success, a technical embarrassment, a sigh of relief in the bunker. With 3 drones still inbound, the pressure shifts to the Gepard Spag positioned near the hospital. One drone in particular, on a near-perfect vector toward the already burning pediatric wing, enters its firing envelope. The Gepard locks at 2.7 kilometers. Inputs flood the fire control computer. Drone speed, 160 meters. Altitude, 1110 meters. Crosswind, 6 ms. Shell flight time, about 2.4 seconds. Required lead, calculated to precise milliradians. Heat rising from the burning wing causes pockets of shimmering turbulence. To a human eye, it's distortion. To the drone's IMU, it's a rolling crosswind. The autopilot compensates, producing a small but unpredictable weave. The first 160-round burst misses by a meter, streaking bright tracers past the drone's tail. The gunner curses, steadies, and fires again. The second burst stitches through the wing root. The drone spirals downward, half-engine screaming, and impacts on the hospital lawn. Soft soil delays the warhead fuse. It detonates only when the torn fuselage slams into a concrete curb, blowing out every intact window on the ER side but sparing the basement shelters. In the bunker, someone mutters, "Good thing the landscaping crew did their job." Morbid humor lands like a pressure release valve. The final drone is different, a Zala-derived kamikaze unit with a dual-mode seeker mixing thermal imaging and visual correlation. It flies low through the city at 210 ms. Rooftops and telephone wires whipping past. Its thermal feed sees only heat shapes. The trauma wing is chaotic. Smoke, flames, uneven heat signatures. The generator building, however, is perfect. A stable rectangular hotspot. The classifier chooses the generator. The drone drops into a terminal dive. 5 seconds, 6G correction. No hesitation. The warhead detonates inside the generator enclosure, cutting hospital power in under 0.3 seconds. In the OR, lights die. Surgeons freeze mid-motion. Backup batteries flicker on weakly. A nurse snaps on a headlamp. A doctor raises a phone flashlight over a patient. In the Russian CIC, the lieutenant logs simply, "Target neutralized." In the Ukrainian bunker, an exhausted officer sees the hospital icon dim to black. He exhales. Smarter war, huh? Outside, smoke drifts into the night. The machines played their logic. The humans survived their seconds.